G'day, Nicola here. I've got a book review for you this week. It's called Wifedom and it is uncovering George Orwell's wife, Eileen. The show today is brought to you thanks to the Structure Success video training, which is a free training that you can get at the end of the show, where I show you how to come up with key events, key memories to include in a rough outline for your life story project. But let's get into the show. The full title of this book is Wifedom, Mrs. Orwell's Invisible Life, and it's by Australian writer Anna Funder. It's a deep dive biography into the private lives and works of this very powerful literary couple. So Eileen O'Shaughnessy and Eric Blair, aka George Orwell. So in this biography, Funder unearths a very vivid and ingenious Eileen, but she also layers in her own life. So modern times, her domestic struggles, her own observations. And the book's been put out by Hamish Hamilton, which is Penguin Random House, and it picked up the Australian Book Industry Awards Biography Book of the Year, plus many international accolades. So in the show, I'm going to go over what the book's about, what you can learn as a reader, and what you can take away and apply for your own life story creating. So let's get started. What is the book about? Well, it's 464 pages and it's many stories in one. First, we have this rediscovering Funder has for Orwell's work and finding the joy of writing again for herself. She also has the story in there, of course, of this missing woman, Eileen. Funder reads Orwell's work and she knows that his wife must have been there in these places that he's writing about, but there's no mention of her. She's lurking in the shadows, so to speak. And with the discovery of new letters by Eileen that haven't been used by biographers before, Funder is able to tell us a fuller story of Eileen and really bring her into the spotlight, so to speak. The third thing or story in this book is about wives generally, how consciously or unconsciously we sacrifice ourselves to domesticity. Really, we have no time, no energy, no freedom because we're sort of chained to these domesticity and enabling our husbands to go have the time, the energy, to the freedom to then go away and have a life, but also come back to a home. So aka wifedom. So that's the basic premise of what this biography is about. But what were the highlights? For me as a reader, there were several. The first was, of course, we learned so much about the Orwells, but their place in modern history. So we follow them to the Civil War in Spain, where they joined the Republican government movement in the Civil War. They're fighting for the democratic socialist side. And lots of action there. They really are and do get in the thick of it. So we learn a lot about that, which for me in Australia, I hadn't heard too much about. And we also get a real bird's eye first perspective on the London Blitz and the horrors that entailed when people were living in the city and then going out to the countryside or sending their children overseas or to the countryside so they could get away from those horrors. So we learn a lot about that. And a big surprise for me, there was a couple, was I didn't realise that George Orwell's real name was actually Eric Blair. So of course we learn about that. And I also didn't realise that Eileen and Eric had adopted a son called Richard Blair. So key learnings for me as a reader from this book. Now, what can we learn from Funder in this biography? So tips for us as takeaways for our own writing. Well, the number one, I think, that screams from this page is the power of editing. Eileen did a lot of editing of Orwell's works, and she wasn't appearing in the page for whatever reason. Funder goes into some details on that, but for whatever reason, she's not there, and a reader will twig, as Funder did. She's like, there's something missing here, something is not right. Well, it's not telling the whole truth. And why isn't he telling the truth? What is going on there? And that was a powerful motivator for her own book, for this book. And it really did get her going, a solid why. So I think they're kind of two tips in one. One, tell the truth because your reader will know, or figure it out, or have an inkling. And two, to really pursue a book, to see it to the end, you've got to have a strong why, as Funda does in this case. Another tip we can pick up is the use of letters. She does this in an amazing fashion, really quite unique. She weaves these letters, not just from Eileen herself, but from resources from mutual friends that they had. She puts these in the book as well, which is great for setting the foundation and illuminating character. So highly recommend you read this work just to see how she works with the letters. And finally, along those lines, linked to the letters, is how Funda deals with chapters. Now, these can be from her perspective in modern life, and then we switch to Eileen back in time, and then also to Eileen's sort of first person when she's creating and writing these letters. And Funda really does give us a different perspective of those time periods, and the chapters can be short and can be long. So there's no hard and fast rules on chapters, which can be quite liberating. You really can get creative with them. So there you go. That's a book review for you on an Australian Book Industry's Award winner, Wifedom, by writer Anna Funda. And in the show, I quickly touched on what it's about, what was interesting as a reader, and what we can take away as life story creators. Now, this show is a summary of a larger article I have about this book review over at my website. You can find that at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/wifedom. Please head over there, read the full book review, check out the links on where to buy the book. There's a photo of the cover of the book and of Anna Funda herself. And yeah, there's a question there too. I'd love you to leave me a comment. You can do it here too on this platform, but have you kept any letters yourself? What are they? Who are they from? And have you written a letter recently? Well, perhaps what's the last one that you wrote? I'd really love to hear from you. Please drop me a line in the comments section over at the website or here on this platform. And you can always send me an email at any time. Go to foreveryoungautobiographies.com/contact. Happy to hear your questions about planning to write, maybe doing the writing, getting it edited and then published. Now, at the beginning of the show, I mentioned the Structure Success Training. So before I go, you can get a copy of this training at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/free. I'll have the links for this in the show notes. But go check that out. People finding that really helpful as a starting point or even at the end of their writing process to cross-check that they've included everything they really do want to include, whether that's a key memory or an event. So please have a look, and I will be back again soon with another topic, and it would be amazing if you could follow, subscribe, like the show, share it with a friend. And until then, happy writing.